Hello, good morning, and welcome to another Art for All group. Normally at St Christopher's we have an Art for All group that meets at 2 o'clock every Tuesday afternoon. So until we're all able to meet again, we're doing the group online. Today I'd like to talk to you about photography, and a lot of you might have smartphones. If you're watching this, you might be watching it on a smartphone, or you might be watching it on a tablet or a computer. And a lot of you might have used perhaps different types of social media, Instagram, that have different filters that you can put on photos, and there are ways that you can edit photos using your computer or using your phone. But what I'm going to talk to you about today is an idea that the Tate Britain have come up with as an art project, and this is using filters as you're taking a photograph, so using physical objects to alter the photographs that you take rather than using technology to alter them afterwards. So I will show you what I mean. I've got a PowerPoint that'll take us through, and I'll just make this big. There we go. It's a very grandiose title, Beyond the Lens. I'm going to be focusing on ways of filtering photographs and reflections, and also ways of rearranging your everyday home, finding a different way to look at objects in your home. We're all waiting on the government advice later on today, waiting to see what happens. Are we going to be spending yet more time in our homes, and which seems likely, but if we are going to have to do that, then we may as well make art, because that's what life's about in the end. Okay, so the artist that really encapsulates this and was mentioned in the Tate project is Gaspar Gasparian, and he was born in the late 19th century in Brazil, and you can see on the left there's this with a beautiful wine bottle up, but he's put another plane of glass in front of the bottle, so he's taking the photograph through the plane of glass, and it means that you get this different visual effect. And it reminded me a little bit of kaleidoscopes, but kind of not quite as broken up as that. On the right, he's just found these objects within his home, but he's cleverly sectioned the background, so you have the black bottle against the white background, and these two clear bottles on the white ground, but against a black background. So you're using all these reflections and all these contrasts and these very simple colours. So I thought these were really effective, and something that actually any of us could do around our home. If we've got a piece of paper, a background, you could use a curtain, you could use your carpet, just anything. And if you have any kind of different types of filters, and I'll talk a little bit about what you can use as filters. So what I used as a filter in my slightly less glamorous interpretation of the picture on the left, the wine bottle with the glass in front of it, Mediunic, my version was my Glade Shaken Vac, but through a water glass. So it's not as beautiful as the other one, but it was fun to do. And I think if I had gone further through my house, I might have found different glasses that I could have used, or even if you have bubble wrap, you could shoot through bubble wrap, anything transparent, if cling film that's been scrunched up and then pulled out, anything with an interesting texture that is slightly transparent, and just experiment. You could even do it through very, very loosely woven cloth, potentially, if you had a lot of light behind it, but just something to experiment with and have fun with. And with a smartphone you can just take multiple photos. You can also, you don't necessarily need a smartphone, you could do this on your camera, obviously. You could do this on a disposable camera if you really wanted to. You can also take photographs on your iPad as well, and if you have a webcam, there's potential you could do it on a desktop, but iPads, this will certainly work on smartphones, certainly work on, and cameras, definitely. So yes, you might not want to take a photo of Shaken Vac, but that was what I went for. And there are other ways of using a filter, are actually adding colour. So what you can do, you can see here, I might just move my little face over to here. You can see using sweet wrappers, So wrappers, if you happen to have a tin of, I'm not sure roses have the kind of there are other brands of chocolate. I'm not endorsing any brands of chocolate, but any chocolates that have this kind of transparent coloured wrapper, and you can see what these people are doing is that they're holding it over where the tiny sort of pinhole camera lens is on their phone. They're holding the filter over that, and it's turning this photograph here is turning it a little bit yellow. This photograph will come out orange. You could maybe even layer, if you have multiple sweet wrappers, you can maybe even layer a red and a blue and get a purple photograph. So there's lots and lots you can do. So I also didn't just look at coloured filters or textured filters, I also looked at reflections. So I found things with reflection in my house. And so yeah, I'll move my face back over here. So this photograph here on the left was the original photograph that I took, and I focused on the reflections of a slightly dusty lamp against a wall, and I wanted it to be really simple, really clean. You can actually see the window reflected, and I just kept it very simple colours, very simple lines. And I tried not to get myself in the photo, because for this I didn't want myself in the photo. And then on the right, I actually did use post-production, so I changed the colours on my smartphone. You could do this on your iPad as well. But I think it almost makes it more abstract, and I cropped it as well. And it, for me, it almost looks like lines of paint rather than a reflection. It becomes really, really abstract, and I actually really liked the effect in the end. Final example I'll show you. So yeah, this is thinking more about kind of people and reflections, and taking reflections of sort of what's going on behind you. So if you've got big mirrored glass doors, maybe in a conservatory, or if you've got a window, what I used was my television in my living room. So get prepared for a very, very glamorous photo of me. So yeah, this photo here on the left is me sitting on my sofa taking a photo of myself in my living room, trying to shade the sun from my eyes. So I'll move this over here. So you can see I'm holding my phone, and you can see that the sunshine is just catching my hand and my arm. You can't see my face so much, so nicely anonymous. And then I just turned it black and white, and it's quite a fuzzy image. It's quite, because I was shooting from quite far away, it's quite misty. And then I played around with colours even more. So on some phones and with some apps, I think I turned the shadows blue or green, and I turned the highlights bright pink. So I ended up with this very luminous arm, but it all came from this over here, and this kind of automatic making of shadow and light and heightening things, and that's something that reflections are really good for using for as well. And actually with any of these photographs, you could then turn these into collage if you printed them out. You could paint from them, you could make drawings from them. They could be the start of something, or they could be end product in and of themselves. So yeah, I'm going to just stop sharing my screen there. So thank you very much for joining today, and this group runs every week at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday on YouTube, and we would love to see your artwork that you make. If you want to send any in, you can send it to wellbeingonline, all one word, at stchristophers.org.uk, and St Christopher's is all one word. Or if you want to submit it to the St Christopher's Facebook page or the St Christopher's Instagram page, just send it through to them. And I hope you enjoy making art this week, and I hope that when we see the news later, it's hopefully a little bit easier to get out and about, and if it's not, then at least we have an art project that works with our homes. So I look forward to seeing you all soon, and I hope that you all stay safe this week. Thank you for joining.